Alright, so a lot of people wanted tutorials from me for various aspects of drawing. Some people wanted to know how I do line art, some people wanted coloring, and a lot of people wanted to know how I draw my backgrounds. I'm not very good at explaining things, and I apologize because of that, but I'll try my best. This is my tutorial for backgrounds. Before I go too into this, I want to remind you that every artist does things differently. I'll be explaining my methods and how I work with drawing, but that doesn't mean it's the only way to draw. Don't let this video make you think you're doing something wrong. Everyone works in their own ways. A lot of the time, people draw backgrounds without lines, such as myself. If you are one of those who uses line art to create your backgrounds, I highly suggest that you try drawing them without lines. When there are prominent lines in the background of a picture, it can draw away attention from what's happening in the foreground. Be it a character or an object, you want to create more focus for what is meant to have the focus. Of course, if you've found a way to do this without disregarding line art from your backgrounds, then keep going. Usually when you draw backgrounds for a picture, you don't want to have too many colors or too vibrant of a color unless you want it to be noticed. If all you're drawing is a background and there's nothing else in there besides the background, you can safely use a lot more colors to make sure everything shows up. Of course, if you're looking for a pastel-y dull background, then keep doing what you're doing. Something to make your backgrounds more enticing is to make it look like there's stuff going on. A hill with a tree does nothing. A hill with a tree that is swaying in the wind, leaves blowing, details in the grass, and a general flow of movement can do a lot for a background. If you're not trying to bring attention to your background, I advise that you don't make it look too busy. Too many objects or too much detail in things that just don't need the detail can be very distracting. For people to notice the foreground, you have to make the background look less interesting than the foreground. This doesn't mean that you have to make it look boring. The background is what makes half the picture. Experiment around and see what looks right. Color theory is another thing. This picture isn't a very good example of it because there are different colors left and right all around. But when it comes to trying to make sure nothing clashes, you're going to need to know how colors can work together. You always want to find similar colors, especially for backgrounds. Decide if you want a cool base with blues, greens, and purples, or a warm base with yellows, oranges, and reds. Once you've decided, draw with those colors and don't go too far into the opposite temperature. For example, a yellowy green is an okay color to use on a warm base, but colors like indigo, which is a very, very cool color, cannot. They just will not work with a warm base. You always need to remember this. Otherwise, the background can look either too busy, or can clash easily with the foreground, or just in general the colors involved. Another thing, unless your intention is to make everything look like it's in a standstill, add a little life to your background. Make your trees curve, make your buildings bounce, add happy bushes, just make it look interesting. Really, most of this stuff I am saying is for people who want to go down a more cartoonish road of art. If you're looking for more realistic tips and tutorials, you will never find any made by me, because I understand I'm not very good with realistic stuff. I've watched too many cartoons as a kid. Really, I think that's all I can say for this tutorial. Anything else you need to know, you can probably just watch on screen as it happens and you can figure it out. I hope this helped you guys. I'll be working on other tutorials for line art, coloring, and shading soon. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.